Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. This time we are actually going to be taking a look at Bard and Bard's supported cards and just a general rating I have for him. Um, but the thing is, I've already seen Bard and this is obviously a little late. I wasn't able to make a reaction video to Bard because I was actually away for the weekend with my dad. So I wasn't able to do that. Um, and then Annie came out the next day, so I wanted to react to Annie. But now we're here to sort of just talk about what I think about Bard and what I'm looking for Bard. 'Cause I think Bard is actually one of my favorite champions of the set, and I think I'm going to be playing him first thing. Um, so if we scroll down, we have our friend Bard here. He opened card art. What a beautiful looking card. 4 mana, 3/6. No, that's level up more. 4 mana, 2/5. Attack, plant 3 charms on random cards in your deck, and the level up condition is increase your total stats of allies in play or hand by 20 or above. And the base right here, just if you just look at that base card, he doesn't look that strong. He looks like a weaker version of Tarek. He really does. At base. When Tarek first came out, which if you knew or were around back then was pretty darn weak. Oh my goodness, so weak. But what really makes this card is the origin. You may put any cards that plant chimes into your deck during deck building. That makes sense. But the real kicker here is round start. Plant a chime in your deck for each bard that started the game in your deck. So you basically plant 3 chimes every round for the entire game. And chimes buff +1/+1. So basically just by putting this card in your deck, you have an engine going all the time. And that in itself is such a powerful concept. Like for free, you have this every engine going off every turn that if you play with like a really mid-rangey deck could snowball the stats super hard. Um, and just the chance to do that is awesome. But it's not just this aspect of his origin that makes Bard such a good card. It's obviously the cards that come with him. So if we do that, we'll just have a look at them. We first off we have the Meduli the Gatekeeper. Now this card is a fairly cheap card, 6 mana. Is for what it wants to do. When I'm summoned, plant a chime on the top of your deck, then double the boons in your deck. Now, the ideal situation is you draw this, you hit a couple chimes on it, and then you play it, and then you double your chimes again, and then you just start drawing as much as you can, uh, and to get the benefit from those double chimes as early as possible. And so the question is there a deck archetype that can do that? And the answer is, of course, it's called Ionia, Shadow Assassin, and Sinon. So there's already plenty of places for card draw, or units that buff over other units in hand or on board, and cycle themselves for the near idea of chimes and an effect like doubling the chimes in your deck to be really impactful. Then we have Cosmic Binding. Now, Cosmic Binding is like when you're comparing this to like a card like Palm. I think that's a very fair comparison. Comparing this card to Palm, uh, to get a general view of its power level. Now it can hit 2 targets, but it can only damage 2 to 1 target and then stun another. It does plant chimes, but that's more. The planting chimes is more to do with Bard's origin than it does with actual what you actually want to see in gameplay. You see, the strength of Cosmic Bind is that it can follow Bard wherever he goes. So, like, if he goes into a deck that doesn't have access to Palm, let's say Targon or something like that, then he can actually have Cosmic Bind come with him in that deck and be an actual card on its own. So in that way, where it's flexible, that it can follow Bard wherever he goes in whatever deck you're trying to build, I think Cosmic Binding is nice in that situation. It's probably the weakest card here, though, which is saying something. Now we have Traveler's Call. Now this is interesting, actually. I was under the impression, actually, that you couldn't main deck Traveler's Call, but they have a Traveler's Call version, admittedly without a gem, and then they have a Bard's Traveler's Call. This is interesting. I want to see how this turns out, and so I will reserve judgment in that case. But I don't think you really want to main deck this card. This is a good champion card for what Bard is trying to do. So when fulfilling that niche, it does it very well, and I project this card to actually get stronger as the game goes along, because it is all boons, and something tells me that adding more boons into the game will make this more and more consistent, because the big upside of this card is you get the draw, and then you get all the boons in the top 3 of your deck, and which presumably will guarantee to latch on to the minion that you draw, or the follower that you draw. So in that scenario, when you have more than just chimes, that's going to be great. Currently, it's a little bit on the weak side. I would rate it about the same strength as Cosmic Binding in this way. What really makes up for it, though, is that it's Bard's champion spell, and I think that's just the most important part, because if you're doing so well that you have double Bard with your Bard on board attacking over and over again, and then paying off, getting all your chimes to pop off on a certain turn to level up Bard, that's all you need sometimes. So it really helps with Bard's level up condition. And then, of course, we have Beard, the Bellringer. Alright, this is the most cracked card, more so than even Bard himself. And the reason is he's like Omen Hawk, but power crept. So he's a 1-mana 2/1 first off. That stat line is a very, very premium stat line for a 1-drop to have. 1-mana 2/1 is arguably the most efficient. Yeah, it's the most efficient distribution of stats if you're looking for a 1-drop that does an effect. And its effect is actually really strong. It's when I'm summoned, plant a chime on top of your deck. So not only does it have the chime synergy, but it has consistency. It drops that chime on top of your deck, and which basically makes it mini Omen Hawk. Well, Omen Hawk is a 1-mana 1/1 that buffs the top 2 cards in your deck, +1/+1. This one has the guarantee of putting that +1/+1 on top of your deck, and then applying it to one of your minions in your hand. And generally, of the minions that you keep in your hand, you're not going to keep a minion that doesn't buff well in a Bard deck. That's just the kind of general law. So you have actually a really high chance of getting that 1+1 on something that matters towards the outcome of the game. So in that way, um, beard is beard is cracked. All right, and then we got Esmus, Breath of the World, 2 mana, 0/2 elusive. When I'm summoned, plant a chime on the top of your deck. Again, a really powerful effect on a very interesting card that has the elusive key tag. Uh, and as well as that, we get support. Grant my supported ally +1/+1. Grant. This card will see play even outside of Bard decks, in Targon decks that are looking to be a little bit more mid-rangey or elusive based. This is so good, so good. It's basically the beard effect combined with Young Witch, except it's 2 health instead of 1, and it grants instead of gives. It is such an all-around fun and cool card. I love it. I love the theme about this card. I love what it does. It's just so flexible. Then we get Mystic Vortex. Now, Mystic Vortex, where Cosmic Bindings, what makes Cosmic Binding okay is its flexibility, and Traveler's Call, its non-commitment. Um, Mystic Vortex is good value in general, specifically for a Bard deck. And generally, that means that it's not that great. It's good, don't get me wrong. You get a draw. When you compare it to Perseverium, you can kind of compare this card to Perseverium. Perseverium draws you one immediately. Alright, that's a really strong effect. And then countdown to draw a card. Alright. Now, instead of drawing, just put 9 chimes in your deck. That's what Mystic Vortex is. And when you're trying to compare this power level of this card, I think you can safely look at Perseverium and say that this card will be weaker than Perseverium. So in the same reasons why you would run Perseverium, you would likely also run Mystic Vortex if you're not in Shurima. But only for the specific purposes of playing a Bard deck. So I don't imagine this is going, like, I'm sure some Bard decks are just going to completely cut this out depending on the meta. If it's too low to the ground and aggro, why would you run Mystic Vortex? Like, it's a 2 mana do nothing when you play it. So this is only really applicable in more control-y, mid-rangey games, which is what Bard seems to want to play towards. So I'm not going to sit here and say it's the worst card, because obviously I think the worst card is between Cosmic Binding and Traveler's Call. I think Mystic Vortex has its place, and that is what it is. Now, if I recall correctly, those are all the Bard cards, but I feel like I'm missing something. Ah, that's right. I didn't cover these cards. These cards, right before the Annie reveal, I didn't cover them. Or when the Annie revealed, I didn't cover these cards. So this is a good time to cover these cards. I'm just going to go over them really quickly and what I think about it. Haunted Tomb has potential in more controlling matchups. I honestly think that in some niche situations, it could be useful. Do I think it's going to be a good card? No, I don't. It's going to be good in these situations, but that epic gem is just holding it down. Next, we'll go over to the Bakai Witherclaw. 5 mana, 5/4. A little bit understated for the stat line. And it has it. Oh, when an enemy is challenged, give it -2 this round. Now, you see, it's an alright effect, but it's not on a great body, and it's not like this card is an engine. So I really think this card needed to have Challenger. I think this card needed to have Challenger for this effect to make sense. Yeah, yeah, for this effect to make sense, I think I would have rather have it on a card that had Challenger. You could even take down a health notch for it. I think that would be completely fine. I think its inability to benefit from the effect itself really knocks the card, because then it isn't just it just basically states you need multiple cards to synergize with this for it to be at all useful when its base value isn't that high. So I think the Bakai Witherclaw is not going to see much play at all, unless there's like a very specific all-in deck for it that it fits in. Now, Dragon Ambush. Now, this is probably the weakest card, actually. Dragon Ambush. I'm glad they're not printing too much really good Ionia cards. But start a free attack with 2 Dragonlings. So basically, 5 mana heal 4 conditionally. Might not even get the heal 4. So what is this card really for? It's for the free attack. And what benefits from free attack in Ionia? That would be Irelia, Blade Dance. Does Irelia really want to run Dragon Ambush? Probably not. Unless, of course, you're running it with another attack trigger champion with Misfortune, but 5 mana is still really expensive. I don't even know if you would run it with Misfortune Irelia. I do like the idea. Don't get it twisted. I really like the idea of free attacks. But I think this card in general is a little bit too weak for it to see play in the decks that you want to play it in. Too expensive, I should say. Then Dragonrus. Countdown 3, summon it, Invulus Vox. Now this could be an interesting card. I don't think you necessarily have to run this in a dragon deck. Invulus Vox is on its own a 6 mana 5/6. That if a dragon kills something, then you draw a dragon, which is really good. You're basically playing 3 mana to eventually get a draw engine that is well statted. So I think that concept alone is at least worth looking into with this card, because I think that's where the real potential of this card lies. Is that you're paying 3 mana in order to get a 6 mana card that is an engine. But of course, playing this later than 3 is probably feels bad. You really want to play this on 3, and then it's a 3 mana do nothing. So you can't really play this against aggressive decks. But it is the principle of value here is high, and it's there. All right. Speaking of value, 6 mana, burst speed, Celestial Trifecta. Evoke a low, medium, and high cost Celestial card. Now, it says and high cost Celestial card. So it's implying that you invoke 3 times. 1 low, 1 medium, 1 high. And that's basically draw 3 for 6. Wow, that's really good. And of those cards from the 3 cards that you're getting, at least one of them is going to be a really high impact card, one that's going to be a solid all-around card, and one that is a flexible small cost card. Pools of Celestial, like Celestials are just really good, and having a card that pulls from each of the significant number costs is really strong. This some people think there's like too much value is overrated. No, no, no. Value is value, and this is the king of value right here. Celestial Trifecta is probably the strongest card revealed amongst these cards in between the release between Bard and Annie. Then we have 7 mana slow, Wings of Cryo Phoenix. Deal 3 to all units. Enlighten, heal your Nexus 3. Now, so this is like, alright, so there's an 8 mana minion that deals 3 to all minions. Alright, already. It's called It That Stares. It uses unit mana, mind you, but it at least gives you a giant ass stick. A beatdown stick. This does not. It damages your board. It's 7 mana. Now, to be fair, there was a time period where you would actually main deck Icequake. As crazy as that sounds, you used to be able to do that in Legends of Runeterra, and it would actually be an acceptable and okay inclusion. I don't think that's going to be the same for Wings of Cryo Phoenix. Maybe like back in the day when Icequake was a thing, but not now. There's too many minion threats that are very cheap that people can do to refill your board, their board. So like you play this and then they just vomit out a little bit more, and then deal 6 damage to your face. It's not, and it damages your own board 3, which will most likely kill anything that you have early on. So it has a really strong weakness. Not gonna lie. But is the concept itself all right? Yeah, I think the concept is fine. I just think that it either needs to be slightly cheaper, or you need that enlightened effect should be more impactful if you're going for that. Because otherwise, I don't see a reason to run the card. Honestly, if I would rather run Icequake than run this card. Alright, then we have Strategic Execution. 4 mana slow speed. Stun 2 enemies or spend 6 mana to summon a Legion General. Now, this card, the best one I can actually compare it to is actually a Celestial card, Crescent Strike. 3 mana, stun 2 enemies, slow. This is 1 more mana for the flexibility of getting Legion General, which directly benefits from stuns. Can allow your stuns to actually build value for another condition later on in the game, which is good for Yasuo. But Yasuo is a really weak card because he doesn't have either. You need Yasuo, basically you need Yasuo to win a game in his own deck archetype. This gives some flexibility. It allows you to play for the Yasuo condition while also providing a chance for another win condition. If this was a fast speed card, this card would be broken, I think. But at slow speed, it's going to be on the mediocre side. Just a little bit. It's just a little bit. It's just not quite enough. And it fits in an archetype that's already extremely weak. But yeah, that's all the cards. I hope you all enjoy this talk. Leave a like, leave a comment, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.